All right, all right, all right. Hey, fellas, how's it going? How's it going? If you are in the house, please let me know by telling me where you're from in the chat room. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Let me know. Uh, happy to be back. For those guys who do not know, my name is Brian, aka Uncle B, and today we are going to get into it. We're going to be talking about some very interesting issues. We're going to basically be guiding you through how to get better all around, not only in your sexual health, but your whole health, everything else. New Jersey is up in here. What's going on, Tyrone? All right. Oh my goodness. Nigeria is in the house. We have West Africa in the house. Man, I love it. We're international over here. We're talking about some serious issues. Hey, fellas, I just want to let you know, just came back from Utah. Was doing a little conference over there in Utah, man. It was a nice place to visit, but I'm glad to be back home. Shout out to Utah, but it was just interesting the things that were happening out there, the things that I learned. But what I found out, just from talking to people, is that the issues that we face as men, I mean, it's universal. That's why Kenya is in the house. Connecticut, I ran in here. Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, I mean, it's universal what we're talking about over here. I was actually in an Uber ride over to the conference where I was speaking and talking to the guy, and he was telling me how he had some issues. He was engaged for 2 years, had some heart issues that led to him having ED, and they eventually called off the wedding. So, I was actually explaining that to a group of people at the conference, and they actually, one of the ladies started tearing up because her husband had prostate issues. And so he was having some ED issues. And so she was concerned on two different levels because one, she was really loved her husband, was concerned about him. And two, one of the things I've learned from talking to a bunch of different guys is that when you're in a relationship and you can't function, sometimes the guys leave. You know, some guys leave because they just, it's the expectations, or they're feeling embarrassed, or they don't want to be left first, so they'll leave first. I mean, we get deep over here. We get deep over here. Kentucky in the house, Jacksonville, Corey. What's going on? Richmond, VA. Love it. Indiana in here. I love it. Yes. And once again, for those guys who do not know, my name is Brian, aka Uncle B, and what we do here on the GoodWood 101 channel, we talk about how to help men get to their sexual best. We have a whole process for it. We've been doing this for the past 23 years, and yes, it works. The things I talk about work. It's all natural. We're not trying to do anything weird. We're just following what makes the most sense and holistically. And so I really do appreciate you being in here because we're going to give you some information that you can use. Actually, today we're going to be talking about basically GoodWood 101. And we're talking about the things that you need to know in order to get to your level best. And let me just go ahead and pop it over in here. We're talking about the Goodwood 101 training system. And when I talk about a system, I do mean that it's a system. We're talking about what you get when you come into the Goodwood 101. We're talking about weekly emails, weekly videos, monthly live streams like this. Sometimes we can go more than that. That's for private groups. We do have webinars, and of course, the easiest 25 course. If you're not familiar with that, I'm going to be breaking that down as well. So, and of course, if you have any questions, go ahead and put that into the chat area. We're going to be handling all of that. Okay. All right. Let's see. There we go. So what we're talking about here is actually good wood. Good wood is the men's sexual performance fuel. For those guys who are more familiar with me with African Fly, same formula, different name. We just did the branding differently. Why do we do that? That is because African Fly, or the herbs in African Fly, some the bulk of the herbs are originate from Africa. And we talked about Spanish fly before, so we just combined the two names, African fly. But good wood actually more represents what the product actually is. Spanish fly was a crushed beetle, Spanish beetle, that if you took it, it irritated your urethra, causing an erection or death. So since we're not dealing with the death part, good wood actually talks about the fact that all of the herbs in good wood actually come from trees. Yahimbe is a bark of the tree, cinnamon is a bark of the tree. We have roots in there, we have buds, we have cloves. all of those combine to make a wonderful formula. Here's the one thing that I'm going to be talking about again and again. It is a supplement. It's meant to supplement the other things we do. So what are the other things we do? Uh-huh. Uh, there we go. What are the other things we do? We talk about ECS 25. Right there, Corey, does it include the 5-point system? Yes, it does. It includes ECS 25, the men's performance cheat code. We call it the cheat code because basically we weren't told this information growing up. It was just like, hey, just be a man. And, your parts are supposed to work. End the conversation. That was cool a good 100 years ago when the world wasn't man-made. Right now, the world is completely man-made. Think about this. When was the last time you were outside on the ground sleeping? When was the last time your feet touched the earth? When was the last time you spent more time in the sunlight than inside of an office? Or when was the last time you spent the entire day moving around and not just typing? When was the last time you went to sleep on time regularly because it was just dark outside and there was nothing else to do? Our whole world has completely changed. And when it comes to our sexual performance, that has changed also. That's why we need this program. Um, and so we're going to be talking about ECS 25 and what you need to do. And so my promise to you for this training right here, I'm going to make you a believer. If you're not a believer already, if you're not familiar with what I do, I'm going to let you know right now. I will prove to you that wherever you are on the sexual performance scale, as far as your erections and everything, you can get better quickly. Now, obviously, there's some things that you have to do, and that's what we talk about, and we're going to get started with that tonight. And if you stay with me to the end, we got some bonuses for you. Also, I definitely will be getting deep into any questions you have. I see you, JP. Mm-hmm. Best out of my testosterone. Just wondering if vitamins with African flower. Mm-hmm. On the Make Man blend. Had to get to that. How can you get a hold of GoodWood fuel? Oh, you can go to givegoodwood.com. That's where it is, givegoodwood.com, and you can place your order there. I am doing well, Mr. Vinny. So let's get going. So yes, what we're talking about is why you actually need this, and this guys is coming from NIH, also from the Cleveland Clinic. 40% of men over 40 have ED issues. 50% of men over 50 have ED issues. 60% of men over 60, and so on and so on. You've probably seen this in your own life. Ask Grandpa how he's doing. Most grandpas, especially if they've been living that Western life, are not doing very well in the sex department. Grandma's looking at him sideways. And part of this is because the reason why this math works like this is because your testosterone levels drop by 1.6%. That's the newest number. Typically, they just say 1% per year. So obviously, every 10 years, your testosterone levels are going down. Your health levels are going down in terms of your sexual health. But here's the crazy thing. You could have ED issues for the next 20 to 30 years. If that sounds crazy to you, that's because it is. But unfortunately, I know some guys, work with some guys who are clients now who are dealing with the fact that they haven't had an erection in years. And part of that is because they took medication. We want to talk about which medications you should avoid. They had a lifestyle that was completely different. And we're going to be talking about the patterns. The most important thing when it comes to getting your sexual health back is paying attention to your patterns. And so we're going to talk about that. And of course, the longer you wait, the more difficult it is to win in this situation. Everybody who's gotten older, you learn when you were young, it was like, oh no, I can do whatever I want to. I can live forever. And then forever shows up. Um, and one of the things I want to let you guys know is that, I'm for real about this. I've been doing this for a good long time. You can see on here we have the different testimonials from guys losing weight, even at 58. They appreciate the channel. Even the guys who give me shouts out when we do our lives, I appreciate you. What's going on, Bernard? Atlanta in the house. Um, and so let's talk about it. ECS 25. We're talking about how men 35 plus can use this process to get erections on demands. And we're trying to do all of that without pills or pharmaceuticals. I say this all the time. My CFO hates this, but we actually go through the process of teaching you how to stop using GoodWood. There's a reason for that. It's not just the fact that I want to have money. I actually want for you guys to actually get better and not need it because these are actually from trees and roots and stuff like that. Humans have already gone throughout history, have already figured out how to destroy some species of animal or plant just so they can get an erection. We don't need to do that. we're running out of stuff already. Uh-huh. Mike Weeks asked, so would you use African Fly or Goodwood? It is one and the same. We're doing a rebrand from African Fly to Goodwood to better represent what the product is, but it is still available. You can go to African Fly or you can go to Give Goodwood. It is the same product. We are going to be making some additional changes. We'll be talking about that soon. All right. So what we're here, as far as our goals, we're going to remove barriers to great intimate performance and to eliminate lying in bed trying to make excuses because you can't get hard. I'm not even on the front. I've experienced that myself. That is not something I ever want to go through again. And I make sure that doesn't happen. And there are ways you can do that, and we'll be sharing that with you. And also to build the confidence that you can perform very well every time with Goodwood and ECS 25. Mm-hmm. And also water. I'm going to talk about water in a second. Did some new research. The video is coming out tomorrow. For those people who do not know, we do have a video. Videos that come out every Thursday at 1, well, actually 12:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure to look out for that. You can go to africanfly.com and get onto our email list so you can get reminders about that. It's really great information. And I'm actually going to be talking about how you can use water to actually make your Johnson bigger. It's a trip. It is a trip. So, mhm. Okay, got you, Mike. All right. So, how does this apply to you? If you're over 35 and you have erection issues, you tried the gas station pills, the pharmaceuticals, and if you think this is a normal part of aging, it actually isn't. The way that the world is set up, the way the bank account, the checking account is set up, the way the world is set up right now, basically, the way that a 10-year-old is growing up right now is different the way than a 20-year-old grow up, a 30-year or myself. So I remember growing up and McDonald's was a rarity. Now McDonald's is open 24/7. So the world has changed and we have to change along with it. And the reason why ECS 25 works is because it gets to the root cause of the issue. Now, by the end of this, our time here together, you will know where you are on the sexual performance scale and how to improve. We're going to talk about how you need to get and have erections on demand. And we're going to talk about how to use ECS 25 to guarantee erections for life. I said for life. It's because we're talking about not just taking supplements. We're talking about a process that you can use to actually get and stay better. And of course, we're going to have a special offer at the end of this, as I said before. So, uh, anybody else who just hopped in, make sure you go ahead and let me know where you are from in the chat room. We'd like to hear from you. We will be talking about how to get erections on demand, spontaneous erections, and morning erections, and how to get exponentially more energy for erections quickly. And we're going to talk about how E625 can get you to those goals. And if you are committed, go ahead and let me hear you put a yes into the comment section because you need to be committed to this, guys. When I talk about guys who have issues, if you already had the issue, if you're sitting there on the brink, you're like at a 5, 6, or 7 on the scale. I'll explain that in a few. You want to get better because I've talked to guys who's like, the wives left him with a child because he couldn't perform. I mean, too many stories like that, and I don't like hearing those stories. I want you guys to win. For those guys who don't know who I am, um, I am Brian, Uncle B Ayers. And I'm talking about my own experiences and stuff that I've lived through being a 51-year-old. And I've been working with African Fly clients for the past 23 years, now GoodWood clients. um, and also, I am the owner of Ayers Naturals. And I've been doing this for a while. I've been researching and blogging on sexual health for 23 years for GoodWood 101. So I'm bringing all that information to you. And for those guys who are new to me, that's the African Fly bottle there on your left, and the GoodWood, the new GoodWood on the right. All right. So what is GoodWood? It's all natural liquid aphrodisiac. It's a tincture. It's a liquid formula. 8 herbs strained with alcohol over 2 weeks to get the essence of each herb. It increases blood flow and testosterone. That's what it does. However, you need to take it a step further, and that's what we have right here. We have GoodWood 101. I sort of listed the things out earlier. When we're talking about GoodWood 101, we're talking about the ecosystem. We're talking about the emails, the weekly videos, the live videos, the webinars, everything. And also, when you order GoodWood, for those people who already ordered African Fly and GoodWood, we're actually opening this up. I was going to wait till later. I want to let you know right now. ECS 25. The base level of ECS 25 is going to be now available to you. This is a 7 course video. Let me not spoil it. Let me not spoil it. I'll talk about that soon. Stay tuned to the end so you can get your access to that. Also, I do have 2 books. Go Hard and How to Be a Better Lover in 3 Days or Less. You'll be able to get access to those also. Um, and also for the guys who are with me on the YouTube channel, I really do appreciate you. We have 158,000 plus subscribers since we started back in 2019, and we did hit 10 million views, which is crazy to me. 10 million to anything is crazy. But we hit 10 million views not too long ago, just last month. And yeah, we constantly get testimonials. People really appreciate the words that I'm saying. We have people in the chat room who also give me shout outs. I love it. Thank you very much. It keeps me going, but that's the truth. I love giving out these tips, always learning, applying stuff, testing stuff out, and then bringing it to you guys. And just like you guys, I wanted to be able to have erections like I did when I was in college. I was doing the normal stuff and just wearing my body down. And I used to be making excuses for, not being able to please the woman that I was with. And, how it is. You get frustrated. Even if it happens one time, it's one time too many. Once you get to 3 times, it's like, all right, something's got to change. So I started ECS 25 for my own self to increase my testosterone naturally. I will talk about that, how that worked. I learned how to combine specific techniques to see a difference fast. That's the most important thing. I was like, hey, I want this to happen, but I realized it's going to take time. How can I, move this forward as quickly as possible? And I wanted to cover all bases when it comes to having erections on demand. For those people who are trying to figure that out, erections on demand means that basically you just think about having an erection, think about something sexy, and yeah, it's working, it's moving for you. Also, you want to prevent impotence. That is a real thing. I talk to guys who are impotent. It's not cute. And you want to prevent penis shrinkage. Ask a nurse who's dealing with a 90-year-old patient if she thinks he was the same size when he was 20. Penis shrinkage is a real thing. So we want to avoid that. And let's go ahead and get into it. Let's get into directly into all the much ado that was going on there. All right. What's going on, TC? Shark Road from Virginia. All right. Road Shark. Road Shark. All right. Uh-huh. Yes, Corey committed. Ah, Corey got the type 2 diabetes. Got to get a life change. Yes, yes, yes. Definitely. Let's do that for you, sir. You don't need to live with diabetes. You can beat that. All right. Let's talk about the basis of ECS 25 is nature stacking. Nature stacking is the driving force behind everything we're doing here. We're basically taking several natural health strategies that we need to be doing every day, and we stack them on top of each other. And so you're continually optimizing these strategies so you can get back to your erections, get back to your strength, get back to your stamina, all of that good stuff right there. And when it comes to ECS 25, we're talking about an actual challenge. The ECS 25 challenge uses a calendaring tool. I can speak calendaring tool to quickly score your daily goals. We're going to break that down in a second, and that's really important because what doesn't get tracked doesn't get measured. And so do like I used to do. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember what I ate last week. No, you don't. You don't remember that. I remember what time I went to sleep. No, you don't. You have to make sure you're being consistent. And that's the key here. And when it comes to the ECS 25 lifestyle, that's what we do. We actually score it. I mean, there's a reason why we have the 25 there. The system that helps you keep the score on how well you are doing. We're talking about the ESEIS: energy, sleep, exercise, intermittent fasting, and soul. If you were born 2,000 years ago, if you were born 500 years from now, as long as you are a human, these things apply to you. And you actually notice the first 3 things when we're talking about energy, sleep, and exercise. These are literally what most mothers tell their kids to do. Energy, eat your fruits and vegetables, sleep, go to bed on time, exercise, go outside and play, get out the house. Intermittent fasting and soul, she probably didn't talk about because as a kid, you really don't need to worry about intermittent fasting yet. But and soul, that's we're talking about your stress. Hopefully, as a kid, you weren't that stressed. So let's get into it. When we're talking about energy, you're getting the precise energy from foods and other sources to enhance erection power. When we're talking about sleep, you're redesigning your sleep rituals so you can get exponentially multiply your everything else that you're doing. Sleep is a huge part of that. We'll get deeper into that. Exercise. You're using exercise to target testosterone and erection stamina. It's not just willy nilly just picking an exercise. We're trying to be very specific. If you're trying to be a long distance runner, that's a completely different workout program than being a power lifter. The same thing applies to if you're trying to have better erections, better sex. It's a process of exercises that you need to know about. Intermittent fasting, that's really important because we've been told you got to eat like all the time. That's not a good idea. You actually need to take a break. Stop for a second. Give yourself a break. A lot of times we think that, especially when it comes to breakfast, we're supposed to have breakfast all the time. Every morning, that was a commercial. If you think about our ancestors, they were not able to go to the refrigerator because there was no electricity. They were not able to pull out eggs that didn't come from the backyard. You have to actually chop wood, set a fire is a lot of work that our ancestors just didn't do to get breakfast because they didn't eat breakfast all the time like we do now. And when it comes to your soul, we are stressed all the time. And so you have to understand how to take care of that because stress can kill your erections. Look at this guy right here. He's stressed at work. So we're out with the lies. It's the magical pill society. Everywhere we look, people are saying to take pills. In fact, this is so insane. In the United States, they had a pill recall in California. Now, you know how small a pill is. They had, I believe they said 4 tons of pills returned. So if you go to a grocery store, every Rite Aid, CVS, pharmaceutical store, GNC, vitamin store, there's nothing but pills. Why are there so many pills? They're incredibly cheap to make, and so they're easy to sell. Uh, and for those people who think that it's more important to focus in on your work, it never, always, never works. You need to take care of your health more than taking care of somebody else's business. I mean, that is the truth. Uh, mhm. And so there are a whole bunch of lies that we've been told our entire life. The Western diet is supposed to be healthy. You have different like, oh yeah, bacon and eggs and grits and scrapple. Oh, that's healthy eating. No, it's not. The first time, this is going to be the first time that children won't live as long as our parents. So if you're a parent you have some kids, pay close attention to everything I'm talking about because you have to change the way that your kids are living. There are now boys who are having more problems developing their penis. I mean, this is some real stuff. We're being very serious here because the testosterone levels are down. There's so many things in the water, etc. We have to worry about that. Um, Aging as you get older is normal. Aging is a choice. I always say this, how old you are is the number of times you've gone around the sun. Your age is what you do with your body. Yeah. And when we talk about exercise, a lot of times we say exercise 3 times a week is enough for hours. That's only 1.3% of your week. So yeah, we can't just roll like the things that we've heard all our lives. So the truth is, illness comes from your bad patterns, and that's exactly what we're addressing. Your patterns, your habits are your health. So your health is more valuable than money. I know I cannot pay you to kill yourself. Well, you give the money to my kids, and then I'll kill myself. Well, sure, that's what I'll do. As soon as you're gone, yeah, we'll make sure we do that. Okay, sure. That makes no sense. Also, eating plant-based meals actually heal you. Packaged food is less than 100 years old. I repeat that. Packaged food is less than, actually, it's roughly, I think, a good 70 years old. Before World War II, it was common that you went home and food was made. You didn't go to the freezer aisle and get food. Um, that came from Tyson's and all those folks like that. And like I said before, you want to get older, not age, and that means you have to move your body. You have to have blood flow going. You're going to see in a second how all of this adds up. I just want to show you. Oh my God, that's me. Um, this is me a good 5 years ago. Now, mind you, I've been a coach for 23 years, but I had the advantage of taking African fly for years. And that just meant that, it was masking all the crap that I was doing to my body. I was able to go to, just eat whatever I want to, do all this stuff. Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Lawrence Williams. as a driver, it's hard to eat good out here. Yep. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually did Uber for a while. But yeah. So I would wake up, back in the day, I had all types of issues. Now I don't have the aches and pains after sitting or sleeping. I just hate waking up because I didn't know what was going to hurt on me. I don't have the dandruff or insane daydreams. I can think clearer, have less bloating. I don't have any boogers anymore. That's let me check. Let me check. No, no, no boogers. uh, and my nails actually grow faster now. And this is me. I had trimmed down a little, still got more to go, but I really appreciate being here than where I was before. So I had arthritis before. I had, now I have better skin, enhanced performance, shorter refractory period. I used to have a ton of bumps on the back of my head that came from really just eating a lot of meat. And I had carpal tunnel syndrome in my right hand. I would not wish that on anyone. That was not cute at all. Uh, and this is me. This was what, this year, and that's me to the right there. That, that was in my, I think I was 19. So yeah, that's a 31-year difference. I'll take that. I'll take that. But yeah, yeah, guys, if you're doing the right things, you can actually take your age back. I now feel better than I did when I was in my 30s, and it just comes from just being consistent and constantly looking for ways to improve yourself. So, when it comes to personal goals, ECS 25 is based on a point system. You get 5 points for every category in ECS 25 that you complete that day. So the program is flexible. It's based on where you are and what your goals are. The goal here is to be consistent. To consistently write down your goals, write down your score every day so you can see what's going on and just nail everything out. And this is the way to look at it. So for your personal goals. So let's say you're starting out ECS 25. If your goal is to cut meat consumption by 50% and you do that day, you get 5 points. It's like, hey, yeah, I'm not going to eat for breakfast. Eating meat at breakfast or lunch. I'm going to eat it just at dinner. If that's what you did, that was your goal. You get 5 points for that day. If your goal was to go from 5 hours to 6 hours of sleep at night, obviously we want you to get to a good 7, 8 hours. But if that was your goal, you're trying to improve, you get that 5 points. Exercise. If your goal is to do 25 rounds of high intensity interval training a day, boom, there you go. You get your 25 points. If your goal is to not eat for 13 hours, you get 5 points as far as intermittent fasting. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And if your goal is to meditate 10 minutes a day, you get 5 points. So if you did all of that, you're getting 5 points. I want to make sure you understand the value of all of these things combined, because what tends to happen, I talk to guys all the time in terms of just coaching, giving information, etc. And what I found out from the guys is that I have guys who are like, in fact, I was one guy I was coaching. He was a nurse. Um, he worked the night shift, so he ate good. He has some issues with taking a little sip every now and then. Had his beer, had his alcohol, but he did his exercise. He was doing intermittent fasting, and he was trying to be stress free as you could be as a nurse. But his sleep was off because he was working at night. That messed everything up. Okay. So he's doing all these good things, but because his sleep is so off, people who work at night actually have different issues when it comes to sleep and how that works. And I did a video on that. Please check that video out. Of course, the channel is now Give Goodwood. So you go to YouTube, type in Give Goodwood, hit the channel, subscribe, all that good stuff. So let's get back into the scoring system. And this is really important. You score yourself with a 5 in each area. So a 0 to 10 means you're on a downward spiral. Let's take my guy who was the nurse, for example. So if he didn't do anything, he just he didn't get his sleep. He was eating crap. He was eating constantly. He didn't do any exercises, etc. And he was doing this for a while. He's on the downward spiral. That means that disease is going to be coming faster. His performance is going to leave faster. Everything is going away faster. 15 means you're maintaining. 15 is okay. So you did 3 out of the 5 things. Okay, you're maintaining, but the issue is if you keep doing that over a period of time, you're going downhill because your body is just reacting to what you're doing. A 20 means you're going up the upward spiral. Now that means, your body is you're giving your body a chance to heal. It wants to heal, it's going to heal. All you have to do is just let it have that space. A 25 means you are getting exponentially better. That's what we want right there. We want you to get exponentially better. So the lifestyle you want is at that 20 to 25. Do you get what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Uh-huh. Uh, Corey asks, can I bounce back from dealing with PE over 10 days? Over 10 years? Oh, 10 years? Hmm. I'm sorry, let's see. Can I bounce back from dealing with PE over 10 years? It depends. It really depends on what caused that, or what that pattern is. Are you still using that same pattern? And, how willing are you to change? Uh-huh. Mr. Vinny, 007. It's hard to get good sleep when the wife is talking her ass off, man. Why man, you preaching to the choir. We got people back here, in the congregation back here waving their hands. I mean, Jesus, take the wheel. You're wrong and right at the same time. Oh my goodness. Oh man, I'm about to start sweating like a pastor. All right, so guys, let's be clear about what you are. You are a life giver. Men give life, women give birth. You are an intricate part of this conversation when it comes to having kids. One of the things I tell guys, nowadays we're living in a world where people wait a little bit longer to have kids. It's it's extremely important that you are at your healthiest level as you get older if you're trying to have kids. The great thing about being a guy is we do have an indicator stick that's right there in front of us. The more that indicator stick is sitting up, the faster you can get up, the longer you stay up, the stronger it indicates that you are. Um, and the whole thing about erections is that, like I said, it's an indicator stick. If you can't get an erection, that shows that there's a health issue that needs to be taken care of, and it's better to get it taken care of now than to wait later on down the road, because your erection health affects everything. Like I mentioned before, relationships. I've heard so many different stories about guys who were like, well, that not only were they concerned about the fact, what they could do in bed, they were concerned about how that affected their girlfriend. Is she going to stay around? Is she going to step out? I want to get you to the point you're not worried about that. You're there for total domination. Um, and the goal is to get to morning erections, spontaneous erections, and erections on demand. And I'll break that down by talking about the sexual performance scale in a second. Um, if you do not know how to correct your issue, then it will get worse. That is just a truth. There is no hiding about whether or not you want to be healthy. You can look at the gentleman to the left. He's actually a model. One man goes to the gym. My man to the right, hey, it's the big one. Coming to you, Elizabeth. And the thing is, the longer you wait, the older you get, the stricter and longer your health practice has to be to recover. That's just obvious. If you've been going to the gym religiously for 5 years, you took like 3 months off, and you get back into the gym, you're gonna be okay. If you haven't been to the gym for 5 years and you just want to hop back in and think you're going to be better in 3 months, nah, it doesn't work like that. So we know this process to be true. Um, so a couple of things to understand: fixing erection health issues is actually easy. The hard part is unlearning what you have been taught and relearning a lifestyle. Like I said, we live in a man-made environment, so getting used to the fact that no, just because the lights are on doesn't mean you need to stay awake. You need to go to sleep. Uh, but this is all about the lifestyle, not a quick fix. So the great thing about ECS 25 is that you want to be able to use this over the entirety of your life, that you can keep on using this. Once I figure out, oh, okay, this is much better for me. Like, and let me just go ahead and talk about this really quick. When I said before, I talked about water. With water, I found out that I'm chronically dehydrated. I didn't know that. I actually got a scale, one of those scales that can measure what your water is, and I'm at a good 50%, and you're supposed to be at 60% of your body mass being water. Water fills your muscles. Water helps lube your joints. It helps with your vision. Helps with your skin. Helps with your. It helps with your erections. Biggest one. it helps with your erections. For those guys who are like, I want to, typically men are 20 to 30% smaller than they could be just because we're sitting down all day, we're not getting the exercise, we're not doing the E625. But once you add in water to the mix, well, water fills in your muscles. So if you go to the gym, you see those big bodybuilders, the guys who are constantly in there, and they got their jug of water. There's a reason for that. The water does water fat can't store water. The water gets stored in your muscles, so it can be you can use your muscles. And so what is down there? Your in your penis is a smooth muscle. It's not a skeletal muscle. It's a smooth muscle. It's a muscle nonetheless. So the more water you drink, the fuller that gets, and the bigger you are. There you go. That easy. That easy. Mhm. All right. Let me see something here right quick. What did Raymond have to say? The message got retracted. Okay. Okay. All right. And let's talk about why you must change now. The longer you take to make the changes, the less forgiving your body will be. As I said before, working out at 50 will not bring changes as fast as if you were at 21. Your health is going to get worse, not better, not just your erections. And so we want to make sure we're paying attention to that. Going to affect your sexual performance and then turn into psychological issues. I've talked to guys who are just straight depressed. I mean, it's never just wonderful when you're not able to get to the best that you can be. So you want to be careful with that. Um, and yes, you will get stressed about sex, which can lead to lower testosterone levels. So that's the downward cycle. We want to make sure we're avoiding that downward cycle. I want to welcome everybody else who stepped into the room. Please go ahead and let me know where you're coming in from in the chat section. Shout out where you are from. We're talking about ECS 25 right now, a whole program that's going to help you get that better, that much healthier. You're taking care of your energy, sleep, exercise, intermittent fasting, and soul. Also, why you have to change right now, the downward cycle is unforgiving. It gets harder. I mean, think about this. It is basically Michael Jordan is not going to play like he did when he was 22. We know that. We know that. The same thing applies to you when it comes to your sexual health. It's better to get better right now. Staying at the same level, it means you're going to be worse over time. So let's talk about the sexual performance scale. That's a scale from 1 to 10. 10 means everything works. 1 means you need to go to the hospital. Most guys I'm dealing with are anywhere between a 3 to a 7. Five is between 5 and 7. That means you're unreliable. As in, you know, a 7 is day to day. You don't know. One day is working, one day is not. What just happened? A 6 is well. Some days it's just completely off. I'm not sure what's happening. A 5 is it takes a lot of work to get an erection. And all of these things deal with a lifestyle. When it comes to getting to a 10, if you're 8, 9, or 10, you're good. You're probably not on this call if you're 8, 9, or 10. Hey, life is great. Becoming a 10 is actually returning to a complete level of health. A 10 is like a 25-year-old who's just on top of his game in terms of health. And in order to get to these different levels, of course, we have to be very much in control of, alcohol, weed, meat. We need the 8 hours of sleep. We need hours of exercising daily. The eight, I'm sitting there between an 8 and a 9. Just depends on what's going on. Is less restrictive, but you can easily fall into a 7. A 7 becomes unreliable. So that's the one thing you do want to avoid. I want everybody here to get to a 8. An 8 is actually erections on demand. That's where erections on demand comes from. A 9 is spontaneous erection, and a 10 is morning erections. That's the way that works. So and in order to get great with this, you just need the E625 lifestyle. Do this every day, guys. It makes a difference. And make sure you're using the scorecard that comes with the E625 program. We'll talk about that in a second. And we got a workbook, all types of stuff like that to help you out. You're trying to make a 1% improvement every day. It doesn't have to be all at once. In fact, you don't want it to be all at once. Uh, Typically, guys who go for doing everything at the same time, they're either just psychotic and special. They're like Kobe Bryant. They're just locked in. They're just going to. This is just something they want to do, or something traumatic has happened, and then that makes them lock in. For the rest of us who just want to, I just want to improve. 1% a day will do. It will add up fast. So you're just looking to make the right improvements. So you just use the tools that we recommend to make sure you're always going in the right direction. And we do have a supportive circle of people who are here to support you. Um, I just want to run through right quick, how this actually works. So let's look at the second one down there. This product really works, makes the whole sexual experience more intense. Um, but I think the most important thing is it in this one. Yeah, it says I've watched a lot of Uncle B's YouTube videos and noticed he really doesn't push African fly. I don't think I need to. I just want guys to use it. Made me curious, so I ordered it. And so, this I don't want this to sound like a sales pitch. I'm more concerned with you being healthy. There's way too many people in this world who've gone through too much stuff. And I'm not going to talk about this yet, but we'll get to it. So let's talk about the extremes. I've worked with guys who have not had erections in 30 years from steroid use. Actually came across a guy recently. He was using, I forget which particular drug it was, but it was a pharmaceutical that was prescribed to him. He was using it and he was fine before. He was okay. He wasn't in the greatest of health. That's the reason why he needed something, and it just took him out. And parts of your life can get messy, like divorce. You have job health ills, and we don't want you believing in the magic pills. And also, when we're talking about working out, we get into that. Working out too much can actually burn you out your testosterone. It's a lot of information you need to know. Uh, and also, the extremes of stressing out about your erections will cause more problems. In one of my videos, I talk about spectatoring. And spectatoring is basically just thinking about your penis all the time. Your girl, oh, she came through the door. I should be hard. And she's standing in front of me. I should be hard. When you're thinking like that, you're actually increasing your cortisol. You're actually increasing your stress, which is going to lower your testosterone, which is going to lower your erection. That's the type of stuff I'm talking about when it's complicated. A lot of times we just think, oh, I just need a pill. No, no, you have to understand your entire body. Um, so let's go ahead and get into the whole process right here. When we're talking about ECS 25, the first thing we have to talk about is food. Because that's what everybody ends up talking about. You are an energy bag of chemicals. That's just true. You need to consume energy to function properly. The Western diet is mostly dead food. Go into the grocery store. You're looking at the grocery store. The first aisle that you see typically is the aisle full of energy. It's all the fruits and vegetables. Everything else in there is dry. And let me just point this out once again, talking about the water, how important this is. You're literally in the dry aisles taking something that's dry and putting it into a wet chemical bag. What happens? You're dehydrating yourself. If you're drinking alcohol, what happens? You're dehydrating yourself. That's the reason why you get hangovers. If you're taking pharmaceuticals, it is so powerful. Your body has to do a lot of energy, use a lot of energy to break it down, tear it apart, move it to where it needs to go, and deal with the reactions that comes out of it. So, and even when we're talking about dry food, meat is dry food. I was just talking to a person who was, talking about the carnivores. I'm not going to go deep into that because people get sensitive. I love my meat. I love my meat. I get you. I worked at McDonald's, and I'm not a cow hugger or a chicken hugger. If there's just me, a cow, and a chicken left on this planet, they are food. That's what's going to happen. Um, but we don't need to eat meat at the level that we do right now. That's the concern. Never in the history of humanity have we been able to eat a bucket of chicken. That is that doesn't even make sense. It's like you went to the buffet and you killing all types of ribs and chicken, and you go back again the next week, and then the week after that, and it's taking it too far there, player. All right. Uh, uh, Darren, Liver King? The Liver King? What does that mean, man? Huh? Phil said, "Thank you. I really needed this. Men need to talk with over half of us American going through ED." Yeah, yeah. It's really affecting too many relationships, too many lives. We want that stuff to come to a head, come to an end. All right. And when we're talking about meat, let's go ahead and get into it. We're living by bad information given to us from people who are dead. Okay. Calories is an idea from 1887 that does not apply to humans. I'm not going to go into that because people believe in the cult, the religion of calories. I don't want to offend anyone's sensitivities right now, but I mean, think about it. People say calories in, calories out. How do you lose weight when you're asleep? Yeah. What activity are you doing other than breathing? I won't even get into it. I won't give it to. But when we talk meat consumption is not better or even good for you, and this company right here, Lie Big, it's Lee Big, but I call it Lie Big because that's what they did. They lied big. This was the first company that came out and pushed consuming meat. They actually extracted meat. It's an extract. It's like gravy. It's pretty nasty, actually. But they pushed the idea that all humans had to eat meat, and that's where, as far as the American food pyramid came from. It actually came from that. It's been disproven, but not get into that. And for those people who says you're a carnivore, carnivores eat meat raw, um, and humans can't. So let's keep going now. Energy, how we eat, how now has never been done in history, and it's not working. Um, yeah, diabetes used to be a disease of the rich. Now it's a disease of 10-year-olds. So this is not a good idea. As I mentioned before, the next generation will not live as long as us. So that's a serious one right there. Your body runs optimally on plant fibers. That's just a truism. And 25% of your body is genetic. 75% is what you do with what you eat. Okay, what you eat with it, and how you sleep with it, and your exercise, and your intermittent fasting, and your soul. So, for those people, when we say talk about your genetics, certain things are locked in. I'm 5'10". I'm probably not going to hit 6'4". Um, I'm probably not going to grow another finger or anything like that. Those are genetics, but I have been 5'10", 175 pounds, and 5'10", 285 pounds. That had nothing to do with my genetics. That had everything to do with my patterns. That's the reason why we talk about that. Sleep is the most important and underrated part of our lives, guys. Sleep is really important. In fact, we moved the show from 9 o'clock to 8 o'clock just so we can go sleep. The more sleep you get, the smarter, younger, stronger, and in control you are. That last piece is huge. When it comes to controlling yourself, a lot of it is 90 to 95% of it is your subconscious is controlling you. We think that we're in control, but how do we control our subconscious? It's when we sleep. We're able to have more control of ourselves. And people who say you can sleep when you're dead, that's not really smart. You need to get your sleep now. Um, the less you sleep, the faster you die. The more you sleep, the younger you will look. That's just true. Lack of sleep actually messes with you down to your DNA. And for those guys who are looking to increase, when all of us should be looking to increase our testosterone and our human growth hormone, that develops while you sleep. So the other most important thing, your immune system will go down by 40% on 4 hours of sleep. When I say it goes down by 40%, I mean your cancer cells go up by 40%. Let me repeat that. Your cancer cells go up by 40% on 4 hours of sleep. So that's how important that is. And cancer cells will increase by 40% in 4 hours of sleep. Lack of sleep will make you emotionally unbalanced, having bad memories. And to get to a 10 on a sexual performance scale, you must have sleep down cold. That you're not getting away from that. If you stay, like I said before, the less sleep you have, the older you're going to feel. That's not going towards a 10. So when it comes to exercise, the question is, what is your goal? A lot of times we just, like I said before, well, there's a difference in how you exercise to be a long distance runner and a bodybuilder. But what is your goal? A bodybuilder does not train like a marathoner. To exercise for better sexual performance means to exercise for flexibility, stamina, and testosterone boost. That's what we're looking to do. When you're doing those three things, that's better for your sex. There is a balance that you must have for your testosterone to grow without burning out. We actually get deep into that in the ECS 25 program. The most known exercises for increasing testosterone is heavy weight lifting. And of course, there's high intensity interval training. For those guys who are familiar with that, that's where you want to go to increase your testosterone. And one of the things that people don't pay attention to, if you want to be better, be younger, your flexibility is key. In Ayurvedic medicine, that's what they look in terms of your age. They don't look at too many other things other than your flexibility, because you look at older people, they're not flexible. So the more flexible you are, the younger you are. And for those guys who are like me, used to think that you just need to run everywhere, need to jog. Walking uses fat as fuel first. So that is really important. Uh-huh. Ah, Darren Hilton says sleep plus power naps throughout the day. Yes, absolutely. Uh, and Raymond, yes. Do you masturbate regularly? Not anymore. Not anymore. Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, that actually is problematic in a couple of different ways, but that's a different show. Uh, Fasting. There's a lot of confusion about fasting, such as you will lose muscle, you will become so weak, you will fall out in 2 hours. My mother used to tell me that. That was crazy. Um, and you gotta eat. And no, you don't gotta eat. There's times to eat and times to let your body absorb what you just ate. Fasting has a ton of benefits, and there are a number of ways to do it. We're talking about intermittent fasting. That's what I recommend because it's typically easy to do. You're talking about 16 hours of not eating and 8 hours of a feeding window. It's the easiest and fastest way to heal yourself. Okay, and when it comes to fasting, it will actually increase your testosterone. So think of it this way: when you wake up, the reason why you have a morning erection, the skin on it, you're a 10 on that sexual performance scale, you have that morning erection, is because your testosterone develops while you're sleeping, and the bursting or burning of testosterone fuels your erection. So if you're waking up and the first thing you're doing is eating, you're stopping that growth of testosterone. Just think of it this way: whenever you eat, your body has to um, take care of what you just ate first, because not everything you eat is great for your body. I mean, that's the reason why you have waste. So there's some part of even an apple, a kiwi, or anything that's going to be turning into waste. Your body has to take care of that first. So it's like, hey, stop with the production of testosterone or HGH. We need to focus in on the food. So fasting will help you increase your testosterone. It'll help clear up your skin, give you more strength. There's a whole bunch of benefits to that. Um, It'll help your body absorb nutrients faster and better. It'll help you get rid of disease. It's called autophagy. And basically, that's when cells eat dead cells just to get rid of the waste. And it'll help you lose weight and think clearer. Okay. And guys, once again, if you have any questions, go ahead and leave that in the chat room. All right. And want to welcome everybody else who's hopping on in on this call right here. Very important information for you. So let's talk about your soul right quick. This is very important because a lot of times we just think in terms of the physically what we need to do. The mental is a huge part of this. Um, so how do you deal with external world internally? That's really what your soul is all about. You are when a plane goes down, they say, how many souls are lost? That's because you, as an individual, you have your own individual soul. How you deal with the outside world, it's also individual. So, performance anxiety is a combination of mental and physical stress. So, we use the 80-20 rule around here. 80% of your sex for men is physical, 20% is mental. For women, it's the opposite. 20% is physical, 80% is mental because basically as long as she has lubrication and she feels no pain, then she can have sex. But if her brain is like, I don't feel like doing this, then that's that. But for men, even if you get to a point where it's like, I want to have sex, I'm ready to go, and you haven't been taking care of yourself. It doesn't matter how much you sit there, wish, and dream. I've tried that. It does not work. It doesn't work. So you need to actually take care of yourself for your whole body to work. This applies to normal state of health and stress. I mean, when we're talking about morning and spontaneous erections, you have erections 5 times while you're sleeping. That leads to that morning erection. Um, but when you are stressed, that's taking over everything. You can't have an erection if your body isn't healthy enough for sex. That's just plain simple true. Think of it this way: have you ever seen a man in a fight with a heart on? If you did, he was on some cocaine. Or something. Actually, that wouldn't even work with cocaine. That's just not the way your body works. So that's stress. And we live in a world where stress can be your cable bill. Stress is things that actually don't exist for real. It's like just looking at YouTube, looking at some videos, and getting stressed over what someone else is saying who's not even in the room that you don't even know. That keeps happening. So we want to be careful with that. Um, so when we're talking about stress, we're talking about your mind, your everything else that is going on in terms of dealing with stress. So we're talking about your soul, we're talking about um, uh, uh, how you actually function. You're actually one unit. A lot of times we think of ourselves as being separate in terms of, yes, I can function with my body, but I don't have to worry about my mind. And so when you don't do the meditation, when you don't do mindfulness, when you skip all this stuff, you think, oh, it's airy. I don't need to worry about that. Yeah. Meditation is done by very powerful people because it works. It doesn't take up time, it actually enhances time. So every morning I use my Calm app on my phone, and you know that works for me in terms of calming my brain down so I can actually function even during high levels of stress. Bad eating, bad sleep, and little exercise can also lead to you having more stress. So you want to be very uh, um, cognizant of that. And even when it comes to chronic stress, that is something uh, that wears you down. I mean, it's cortisol. So let's say you're in a fight. If you're in a fight, your adrenal glands will kick off adrenaline. And this hormone will stay in your body for a while. That's the reason why, even after a fight, you see fighters who knock somebody out, and they still like, they're super amped up. Well, yeah, that's that adrenaline is still going. Same thing happens with cortisol. When you have cortisol, when something is stressing you out, even after a while, this a hormone is a chemical that goes throughout your entire body, letting your body know that, hey, we're under stress, something could pop off. Let's let's be ready for it. If you are in a situation where you're constantly under stress, your cortisol levels are going to be chronically high, and actually, you're not going to live as long. I mean, it's just that simple. And as far as your sex life, well, that's going to be going first. So here's a way just to ask yourself. I want you guys to think about this. If you want to put it in the chat room, please do. Where do you rank right now for your past week when it comes to energy, sleep, exercise, intermittent fasting, and soul? It's like, have you been paying attention to these things at all, really? So if you would say, okay, so as far as energy, I've been eating good. So let me give myself a 5 for this week. As far as sleep, I was sleeping good. Let me give myself a 5. What would your score be? That's something that you need to think about. Um, and areas can you improve on starting tomorrow with no problem? What's the easiest thing for you to do? For a lot of people, it's like, I can just go sleep. That should be the easiest one on that list. For a lot of guys, it's like, like me, I like getting up first thing in the morning and getting my exercise on. I struggle sometimes with the biggest one for me is intermittent fasting. It's just the things I grew up believing in terms of not eating. It was like my mother told me, you have to eat your breakfast. And it's yes, mom. I was a chubby kid. Let's just leave it at that. So, yeah, guys, where are you? What can you start doing tomorrow? And on a sexual performance scale, where do you rank? 1 to 10. Um, Ask yourself that, because what the important thing to know is where you are so you can get to the next level. Okay. And for those guys who are worried, I'm going to be closing this out soon so we can get some questions in if it's necessary. Um, and also, where do you want to rank? I want all you guys to be between an 8 and a 10. Okay, 5 to 7. You can be sort of lazy at a 5 to 7 and still have sex, but it's going to be unreliable. So let's go ahead and talk about the ECS 25. So basically, it's 7 modules of course content. So basically, I took everything that I've learned over the past 23 years, over the past 3 years of being on YouTube and putting information out. We crammed it all down into 7 courses. So the information I just gave you, that's the small size. I just took everything, crunched it down to an hour. But you want to get the E6 25 course. That's a $595 value for those guys who are. Hold on a second. We also have the Crush It Challenge webinar. So, that's to go in deeper and just give you more information. And we also have workbooks and exercises that go along with this. This is a complete course, guys. We wanted to make sure that you had the information that you needed to go for it. And we're going to show you once again. We dove into it just a little bit, how to score yourself correctly, how to keep track, how to post in the group. We actually have a group chat so you can compare yourself with other guys. Get some competition going on here. Let's fight. Let's fight. Um, and also, we recommend different products for you. So obviously, we're going to recommend GoodWood. I mentioned that I use Calm. We've partnered with Lost Empire Herbs. They have some fantastic herbs. I have my black ant. today. And for those guys who use like black ant, yes, actual crushed ants. I mean, it's crazy. Uh, but hey, it works. I didn't even know that was a herb. Target Ali. I mean, we're actually going to be offering those. We're giving good explanations of why you should be taking those. So pay attention to that. We're actually going to make recommendations in terms of pillows and things that you can use to get your sleep on. Um, and once again, for those guys who are, let me just go back over this really quick. African Fly is now GoodWood. Is just a rebranding. AfricanFly.com is still up. You can still order from there. If you want to go to GiveGoodWood.com, you're welcome to go there too. They're basically, one in the same formula. Not basically, they are one in the same formula. It's going to give you those erections that you want, harder, longer, and stronger. It's going to increase your size over time. And this is a specific thing. I actually have a video on this on YouTube. You have to be at 8, 9, or 10 for this process to work, and you have to drink a lot of water. And it is a supplement, and it supplements the other things you're doing, and EC is 25. So, and Goodwood, I mean, actually, African Flies, been selling since 1999 for those guys who are wondering, does it work? Yes, it does work. We only have less than 1% of people asking for refunds, and we have thousands of clients and testimonials. So, yes, I can testify to this. Other people in the room can testify to it, that it works. We've actually also partnered with Let's Get Checked. They do testosterone checks. You can actually just take a sample of your blood, send it back in the same day, and within 2 to 3 days, they'll give you a reading on your testosterone. Um, since joining with them and understanding where I was and how important it was, I've gone from, I think it was a 385 to now I'm at a 705. So, yeah, yeah, and that's just learning and doing all the right things to improve that score. Um, and for those guys who are on the fence in terms of like whether or not you need to, invest in GoodWood itself, invest your time and effort into doing this. You just have to ask yourself, how much is this costing you right now? If you lose that relationship, you could be losing your wife, you could be losing your kids. Also, the time, stress, pain that you're going through, it's not worth it. And so, how much would you pay not to have that anymore? Because the older you are, the more it's going to cost. That's just the truth. And we're talking about not just your sexual health, we're talking about your own health. And one illness can cost you and then your family and then the government. You do not want to be homeless at 74 because of health issues. So what we do with Goodwood, we're talking about accountability. We have this, what we're doing right now, Goodwood Wednesdays. We're going to be scheduling that out, so be on the lookout for that. Of course, we have the Goodwood 101 support group. I do still do private coaching sessions. And of course, we have the home testosterone kit. When you have this all together, especially the home testosterone kit, you can lie to me. You can say, "Oh, Uncle B, I've been doing everything," and blah blah blah. It's like if you've been doing everything and your testosterone stays the same. Mm, just leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it at that. And my goal for you guys is to be addicted to health. That's really what it comes down to. Because, for a lot of times we just think that, um, it's just going to be a one-time thing. I'm just going to do this for a short period of time. That's not it. I want you to get to a point that's like, I love getting up, going to the gym, getting my sleep on, and having those erections and wearing her out. That's the whole point. That's the whole. All right. And if you're committed to getting erections on demand, information is not enough. You have to execute. You have to implement. And all of this is so you can get those erections on demand, spontaneous erections, and morning erections right now. So, if you're wondering if you can stay committed to this program, we try to make it as easy as possible. Can you figure this out on your own? I spent the past 23 years figuring this out. It's not easy because a lot of this information is spread out. And when you even go to the research articles, I read a ton of research articles, and oh my God, it's hard to understand what the heck these people are saying. Uh, but if you do it long enough, you start figuring stuff out. Um, and of course, we do have a money back guarantee on Goodwood. Um, and just to let you guys know, this is the whole surprise. The thing that I was saying from the beginning. This is what we're changing right now. Uh, you can go to givegoodwood.com right now, place your order, and you will be getting not only um, that a great product. You're also going to be getting the ECS 25 course for free. That is a $595 course that other folks have paid for before. But I'm like, look, it's not moving fast enough in terms of our goal to get 10,000 men to not only go through the program, but to improve themselves by the end of this year. So you're included in that number. So please go to Give Goodwood. You're going to get an email that's letting you know, giving you the link to ECS 25, and you'll be able to go ahead and go through this course. It's I'll say so myself. It's very well done. It's a good program, and I think you'll really love it. The information is just condensed down for those guys who are familiar with how I get down and the things that I do. That's what we're doing. So um, I want to hold you guys up because it is that time. I need for you to go to sleep. I need for you to go to sleep. And there's a couple of questions I just wanted to jump in and uh huh and just address a couple of things really quick. Um, there was that question: do you masturbate regularly? Hey, back in the day, yeah, all the time, twice on Sundays, because it's the greatest entertainment set is between your legs. But when it comes down to it, when it comes down to connecting with other people, you definitely want to stay away from porn. If you want to masturbate, just use your memory and just go off of whatever like that. But the reason why you masturbate is because you want to have sex. So focus in on finding a person that you can be with, enjoy, and have sex with. That's the way that rolls. Um, and what was the other question we had over here? I think I addressed the carnivore diet and all right. So yeah, I think we're good. Oh, uh, yes, can I bounce back from dealing with PE over 10 years? So if you had, I sort of addressed that, just let me dive into it just a little bit. Guys, if you've had issues over a period of time, I do have the coaching sessions because we really have to dive into it. Like I said, this process is complicated. It isn't just taking a supplement. It's like what happened to cause that. I was talking with a guy who he had issues for years because he was taking steroids. It was also just the way that he was living at this point. It was like you take steroids back in the day, at some point your body can recover, but you have to be doing very specific things. So if you have issues like that, we do just get in contact with me. You can hit me at Give Goodwood. That's our on Twitter, at Give Goodwood, on Facebook, Give Goodwood, on YouTube. All these different ways to contact me. I do have a coaching link uh, that you can hop onto, and yeah, we'll take care of that. So yeah, let's see. Are there any other questions? Please put that in the comment section right now. Um, I really do appreciate you showing up, showing out. Yeah, this is something that I'm passionate about. I want to make sure as many guys get as much information as possible, get it to good use, and spread the word. We need as many guys, like it was mentioned, someone mentioned before, we have 50% of men who have some form of eating issues. This is not healthy for any of us. So let's get it taken care of. And there we go. Hey, I appreciate you. That's all I have for this evening. Look out for the video that's going to come out tomorrow at 12:45 Eastern Standard Time. You're on the channel. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and yeah, there we go. So, unless there are any other questions, we are going to adjourn. This is Uncle B saying, "Get your game up and go hard." Peace out. Yeah.